Hey traders, Nick Shaheen here looking at Wynn Resorts. It had a good bounce off the bottom and it gave back a little bit recently. So the idea is, what do I do now? There are a few things I need to look at the chart, but I do use fundamentals, but I do believe that the charts matter a little bit more these days for a lot of reasons. So let's look at this. I can tell this is a daily chart, which is what most people look at. Every candle is one day. There are a couple of candles that stick out relative to what happened recently. I'm going to give you a second to see if you can pick them out. It's just two candles side by side, back to back, I should say. They're not huge, but they speak loudly. So I'm going to give you 10, 9, 8. Okay, time's up. These two right here. They're both dojis, meaning indecisive, and they're both almost exactly where the failure happened. So I want to draw a line there, and let's draw a line there. Somewhere right there. Okay, we'll fix it. All right, so recently we've had a good run, and it ended right there. Coincidentally, they've had indecision there before, and it also matches up to a ledge. You know, they tried to hold, and then they fell. You can almost see a ledge right there, right? So this is an important line to remember on the way up. And 108.07, I'll just make them both the same and see where it's at, and then perfect. Now it's flat. So it's a problem, right, for the bulls, but it's also the opportunity, because if you break above it, that's going to be a burst up, and it looks like a cup and handle. So the burst up should be as big as the cup, but in this case, if this was an aberration from COVID, I'll probably only give it credit down to here. So this is 70 to 110. That's a pretty good chunk, right? It may even fill this gap up here. There are a lot of resistance spots. First of all, the trigger. The trigger would be to beating this. And a resistance spot would be somewhere in here, somewhere out here at 137 and change, and again here, because every failing point before, or every ledge they try to hold, will become forward resistance on the way up. There'll be another ledge they have to overcome on the way up. I noticed that there's higher low, and you can probably get lower highs, so something's going to happen in the middle of this zone. Now we're still on the daily, so let's zoom out to a weekly to see if we can notice anything. Okay, so the line that we picked out as important on the daily now becomes more important on zooming out. It's been pivotal. So let me zoom out one more time. All right, so this is a monthly chart, and let me reset it. Boom. So now we see why this zone where it's at is pivotal. It is, if I look at it, I can draw a line right there. I can extend the line, and it looks like it's been a pivot for a long time. So, and also just below it, this is a monthly chart, so it's a long-term chart from 2003 on. There's the point of control. This is where literally the buyers and the sellers agreed over it the most, so they fought it the hardest. So on the way up, going into that, it's going to be a failing point, right? So it's sticky. That's why they're having trouble with it. On the way down, if this was below them, then it'll be great support. And on the way up, it's going to be tough resistance. So zooming back in. Okay, and zoom back into 1 day. This is where we started from. All right, so there's another line I drew somewhere around here, which is the actual point of control. And this was the ledge from which they fell. And we drew the big head and shoulders for this one here. If you missed it, here's what it looks like. There was a neckline, and they lost it probably on the monthly. Yeah, there we go. So there was a neckline that they lost, and then they filled its potential. It's surprising that they didn't do more damage. I mean, it could have been so much worse. So you're lucky if you're long it, right? So do I get out on the dip? No, because I know that there's a consolidation period. So the bulls have support, and they have an opportunity. All they need is to just continue on higher low, banging on the roof, and then eventually they break through the roof. It's an important line, and we zoomed out. We picked it out of nowhere, and we zoomed out, and it turned out to be, it's been important for a long, long while. Look at this. I mean, it's important for a long while. Okay, so if I stop right here, this is the exact point of control of this period of time. So no wonder they failed. It's like the place to fail, and it's totally normal. All right, so if I measure this is probably somewhere around the 50% Fibonacci retracement, if you believe in Fibonacci. So the machines do, and there it is. The 50% is right there. So they're struggling with the 50%. Okay, so it's not a problem to lose momentum here, to build a better base. 50% rally is a lot to digest. So fall back, come back to it with force, fall maybe one more time, and then burst up, and then chase. So how do I trade it? I like to bet on the downside holding. So I would rather sell into support to generate income than buy and hope for the rally. So I can do both, but probably not at the same time. So there's tons of stuff I can do with the options market that I cannot do with the actual equity itself. So it behooves you to learn a little bit of options. I know people say they're dangerous. Trust me, they are no more dangerous than spending your money on stocks that don't belong. All right, so this is the short story. Technically, it is challenged, the white line, but it's the opportunity. So embrace it, knowing that there's support below. That doesn't mean short it to high heaven, and that doesn't mean go all in, because we don't know what's going to happen with the crowd economy. Even if there's no reemergence of the spread, there's the fact that there's going to be rules going forward that to change the game. So going back to quote normal is not going to be normal. It's going to be X% of normal. Let's say 80%, 70%. I don't know where they're going to draw the line. Disney, for example, reopened at 25%, and they're going to up it a little bit at a time. So they're going to find a sweet spot. And they're going to say, you cannot go back to 70% of more than 70%. I don't know what it is. Maybe they say, hey, go back to wherever you want. We've got a solution now to this virus. So it all depends what's the new normal going to be. So be open to both sides. Don't fall in love with the stock. Nick signing. Oh, if you like this kind of stuff, join us. We do this all day, every day in the chat room. There's a link down below. The transaction is free. It's a zero cost transaction. You can try it out for 10 days. Later, bye.